There's nothing more complicated than love. Introducing kozuka. Love rivals. These aren't any kind of ordinary rivals. They want what you have. And it is the guy Momo has her sights set on, and Ken who has his sights set on Momo. Momo and Ken. No one can break this romantic bond, except it will certainly be attempted. The story of Dandadan is the lingering and building romance between these two lovebirds that won't actually confess their love to each other. And so you know what that means. Free game for the kozuka. No matter how you slice it, you read or watch within that moment as your heart goes. A story will take you in all twists and turns on the premise of the crescendo that is Momo and Ken finally confessing their love to each other and being official. At some point, Momo will hit Ken with the The story of Dandadan is centered around Momo and Ken because they are the characters that matter the most. It is an exciting shonen, supernatural, thriller story, with the main payoff always being the progression of their romantic relationship. After every smackdown of an alien ditty and a horny turbo baba yokai, it is followed up by something close like body heat to body heat. A nervous sweat action of a teenager finally becoming a man to match Momo's shonen-like qualities, and another teenager finally finding the perfect complement for her brash personality. That is Takakura Ken. When it comes to love, some things are just not accidental. Okay, it's not what it looks like. For this video, I'm going to be talking about my biggest takeaways from the Dandadan manga, all the way up to the latest chapter, which by the time this video comes out would be chapter 176. This video will contain some light spoilers, so you guys are already warned. Throughout the Dandadan manga, the one emotion that will forever tug at you, with the story dancing around closer and closer to the dreaded three letters, NTR. Jealousy in relationship is a human emotion or feeling that will forever agonize us as human beings, especially since our main MCs, Momo and Ken, just won't say it out loud and become an item. Maybe Momo needs to keep working on her Kiko-ho, which leads us to the characters that will try to provide what Ken cannot. Whether it's Ken's own lack of self-awareness that does him in, or the plot convenience where the story constantly forces Momo and Ken to be separated from each other. This is to build up each crescendo in each arc to add even more oomph through climactic shonen excitement to that romantic payoff, where Momo and Ken will eventually meet once again to provide the payoff for the plot and to provide the payoff for that teeny weeny step further and further from just body language that totally implies and suggests that Momo and Ken might want some body heat to body heat action for each other, to indirect confessions to eventually the outright confession. These are the small little payoffs that the Dandadan story slowly builds us up to, which consists of almost 200 chapters already. The biggest payoff that will complete this story is obvious, and that is the eventual Ken and Momo confession of their love that will drown out all the other suitors getting ready to hop on Ken's golden jingles and Momo's Kiko-hos. It's not going to be that easy to get that sweet satisfaction of a happy ending. There's always going to be some shenanigans, whether it's by the opposite sex or by the combination of aliens and yokai spirits that want to steal your damn banana. In between the story where Momo and Ken are not yet courageous enough to fully confess their love to each other, I mean Ken literally doesn't have his manhood. That is where the yokais, spirit, alien deities try to steal your banana because golden single jingles are all powerful, and other otherworldly entities provide the catalyst to pull at your heartstrings. That is your emotional investment into this Momo and Ken relationship. Did I mention that everyone wants bananas in the story, specifically Ken's? From alien deities to alien Epsteins to even an all-for-one type of villain? The plot and villains really are just a means to see how it tests Momo and Ken's resolve for each other. After stripping down the Dandadan story into its supernatural themes and what plot comes out of it, it's ultimately just shonen. The shonen is what provides the exciting catalyst to lead us back to what we all care about the most, and that is Ken and Momo becoming the lovebirds we all want them to be, as the characters themselves want them to be. The story does a great job in some arcs to make us question their love for each other, because relationships are just naturally rocky, where the lack of self-awareness for someone like Ken can be a problem, like a kissy moment that doesn't involve Momo or Ida. The story starts to find other ways to help Momo and Ken grow as characters, individually, apart, away from each other. At major plot points, Momo and Ken find themselves separated from each other, which leads Momo having to rely on other people, aka other dudes. When it comes to guys and girls you like, your sensitivity levels rise, and the jealousy swallows you up. As Momo and Ken are apart because of legitimate happenings in the plot, it makes for a perfect runway for other characters to make their move. For Momo's Kiko-ho. In some cases, for characters like Injoji, it is in your face that he wants to be with Momo, which leads to some NTR moments. In some other cases, like the arc I hate the most, that is the Momo doing random adventures for 13 chapters straight with another guy. Although that arc doesn't necessarily push heavily into the romance side between Momo and this other male character that kind of just came out of nowhere. Yeah, just go adventure with him for 13 chapters straight. Wear his pants and do a lot of couple-like things. The ingredients for yet more NTR-like moments were all there, growing from a platonic, maybe not, kind of a relationship. That is where the story puts you on the fence. It makes you think about the implication of Ken's future girl spending all this time building chemistry with another guy. That is where, once again, the more self-aware the characters are, the more we might tend to like them a little bit more. As throughout the arc, when context gets messed up and where it seems like potentially other romantic suitors are going after Ken and Momo, the author will never let us get fully NTR'd, or does he? You know what they say, you never go full NTR. There are a lot of push-pull moments for kind of like these NTR type of moments, but the story brings us back to the reality that Momo and Ken truly love each other, and that there isn't anyone else, as the story continuously tries to imply otherwise. No matter how you slice it, no one wants to see their girlfriend body heat to body heat with another man in any kind of context. It's not even just physical moments that can be annoying for Ken and the Momo ship. It's also the fact of Momo admiring, appreciating, building chemistry, and caring about someone that isn't Ken. Although it is legitimate for Momo and Ken to feel platonic concern and appreciation in their relationships with people of the opposite sex that isn't between them, but like how Momo treats Momola and Ida.
Yada yada.
The story finds creative ways to put Momo and Ken in positions where the plot has them team up with other characters of the opposite gender for whatever legitimate story reasons. It is when particular scenarios arise, like when Ken saves Ida and Injoji saves Momo. These are the kind of moments in a romance where it is there specifically to take away the thunder for the main ship between Ken and Momo. It is here we get to understand, appreciate, and come to like these characters on their own merits. That is what makes Dandadan special in a lot of ways, because characters like Injoji, Ida, Unji, and all these other ones fulfill necessary archetypes that bring a whole new element to the story, which adds to the romantic complex that is Ken and Momo's relationship. The more we like these other characters who are not Ken and Momo, that like Ken and Momo, that makes all these different love triangles all the more agonizing because of the legitimate threat of them. Whether it's an outright romantic threat like in Joji, or ones where the story can imply that there are potentially other romantic threats. This is where I just say NTR. The story purposely puts Momo or Ken in a position where the other will feel that jealousy. That is where your projection of jealousy is on high alert. Maybe I'm just projecting my own jealousy of unresolved feelings of the past. maybe. Like many good plots, a common occurrence are events happening out of context and from miscommunication, like an accidental kiss and cuddling. Context, guys, context. I'm with Momo in these kind of scenarios where she gets the crappier end of the stick. These bitches, Okoden. I'm here to show you guys this manga frame, because this manga frame represents, symbolizes a lot of the issues that arise from Ken and Momo's relationship. Most of the time when they're jealous of each other or fighting in some shape or way, it's because of missing context. If you guys are caught up with the anime between Ken and Ida, there are many variations of moments like this that are taken out of context. When it comes to our feelings and emotions, context still doesn't make you feel that much better. That is human reality. That is jealousy. We all feel this when it comes to our significant others. Whether you want to try to hide it the best or not, I'm just gonna assume we all feel it. Both Momo and Ken have their fair share of NTR moments. That is where the Dandadan story tiptoes the line of almost going too far to make us hate the story or just hate the characters. And that tiptoeing of the line needs its own context in itself. This is one of these subjective areas of how you see this. From my estimation, the story has tiptoed the line perfectly. Unless in Joji kisses Momo! And if he does, I rage quit. Alright, I'll chill on being too hyperbolic. Only Kiko holds for Ken. For the most part, I enjoyed all the arcs and all the weird and wacky turns it takes us on. The story is really shonen fun. At this point, I believe in the author, Yukinobu Tatsu, or whoever this person wants to go by, that he understands how to push our buttons in all types of angles, whether it's deeply emotional, just simply hilarious, and not pushing the NTR button too far, and always delivering on the most important payoff, that is Ken and Momo's progression of their relationship. Out of all the arcs I disliked the most, I just was not a big fan of the beginning of that diorama board game arc deal with onbusuman and Momo. There were like 13 chapters straight, mostly of those two, and I absolutely daikirai. It's not only the fact that Momo spends all this time with this other dude, doing all these random ass adventures, building this platonic, inching closer and closer to not being platonic. They just fight random monsters the entire time until the back half of the arc when Okuren actually shows back up and all the most tense moments come into really big, multiple climaxes. And we finally discovered onbusuman's tragic and rough upbringing. That is his backstory. Bro's totally like a Tokyo Revenger character. A lot of this arc at the beginning just felt like filler and was used simply to build this curiosity of a platonic, maybe not platonic relationship between Momo and Unji. Remember guys, out of context. Things happen out of context. This arc definitely felt like a means to an end to simply set up the biggest, most important moment of the entire series. This far, it was a crappy start, but my heart almost melted. Still, the story always finds a way to relieve our agony of Momo going through a big chunk of the arc with another dude by eventually bringing Ken and Momo back together. My goodness, if they don't keep doing that, a lot of the arcs are painful because you have to really endure the moments where Ken and Momo are apart. And it's not only because of the romantic reality of them naturally being apart, and not only Ken or Momo having to spend time with other characters of the opposite sex, they also have to overcome whatever plot that they're facing, whatever enemies that they are facing. And it always feels like something's missing. And that is where the biggest payoffs come through, when Momo and Ken fight together as a team. So after the earlier arcs consisting of Momo and Ken fighting spirits, yokais, and aliens together, the later arcs finds creative ways to separate them, allow them to grow individually, while eventually bringing them back together, which fortifies even more of their love for each other, which is where the shonen element of the story always makes it feel that much more spectacular. With the introduction of new characters, there's gonna be a ton more, the story tends to run the same formula that we have already seen, if you guys are caught up with the anime in season 1. When a character is introduced, first impressions matters the most, so if a character is more serious, menacing, and deep, you get like an acrobatic Silky, a Reiko Kashima, a Rin, Sawaki. When the story wants to introduce something funny and lighthearted, you get a Mantis Shrimp, a Kenta Sakata, and a Rokura. Out of context, guys, out of context. After introducing a new character, it will eventually explore a bit of backstory. It's the same kind of formula throughout any kind of shonen story. If I had to nitpick something though, some characters introduced felt a little bit more forced than others. It felt really sudden, like these characters really do just come out of nowhere. But these other characters will eventually win you over. It's just a lot of these characters, they don't necessarily have the best first impressions. Personally, I enjoyed the arcs the most when it's just Momo and Kin. They are legitimately the most rewarding parts of the entire Dandadan story, and I want to see them win and fall in love together. It's almost like I'm projecting the high school story that I never had. It's a growing bond, doing cool ass adventures together, finding his golden single jingles, and giving us cool ass shonen moments. All the jealousy aspects of the story that involves other guys, specifically, cuz double standards here. Although the NTR-ness is necessary for a more dynamic plot and gives us more complexity to the romantic dynamic between Momo and Kin to be strong and faithful to each other, to continuously through each arc, no matter where their hearts go physically, spiritually, they never left each other. Until they say the words, "Ski, daisuki," or let's just make it even more dramatic. Momo, aishiteru. Any part of the story that can elicit jealousy out of Momo and Kin, it is still agonizing no matter the context of the NTR. It's like seeing your significant other cuddle another guy. That may or may not have happened. In the end, we want one thing, and that is Kin and Momo exploding into the most heartwarming fuzzy wuzzies I have ever felt in my life. So yeah guys, I hope in this video I didn't reveal too much, but hopefully it did convey how I felt throughout each arc in the Dandadan manga. If you guys want to know my actual predictions for the Dandadan manga for the upcoming arc, or how it will end, I might do one just for the manga readers where we can dive deeper into the more spoiler elements in the story. There are some things I feel like it's setting up like miles away. I think it makes too much sense to have Joji finally take his step forward, and eventually he is fully going to confess to Momo and try to take away Momo away from Kin. And that is where Kin and Momo will save us from any NTR. And that is because Kin is only for Momo and Momo is only for Kin. I think in terms of the romance side, it's gonna have something to do with that. And on the plot side, they're obviously gonna fight this damn alien all for one type of dude. So yeah guys, if you guys read the manga, let me know what you guys think. I know I didn't go into that much specifics, but if you guys want more Dandadan manga content, you know what? I might be down to make some. So yeah guys, let me know what you guys thought about the Dandadan manga. And what are you looking forward to in the anime? And do me a favor guys, hit the like button for Momo's Kikoho. And subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. And check out my blog at otakusen.com. And I appreciate you guys watching. And I'll see you guys on the next video.